Welcome, Caner Universe, loyal followers of the channel and those who are new to the channel and the culture. Welcome, a warm welcome to you. I always remind you that if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss anything. Speaking of important content, well, today's topic is as important as any, and the question is, I had to use my cane to defend myself. Now what? What are the legal ramifications? What could I possibly be facing criminally, civilly? What are the topics? What are the things that I need to know and that I need to remember as I'm going into this? Now, I'll attempt to bring clarity to this with the understanding that I am not a legal professional and I am not in any way, shape, or form offering you legal advice. I'm a professional with this tool, and what I offer here is for educational purposes only. So only with that understanding will we jump right into this. So let's get started. New to cane training, the most basic, most fundamental benefit with this tool, yes, is the ability to defend yourself. No doubt about that. The question now is, if I do have to defend myself, what are the principles that I need to keep in mind? First and foremost, this is number one. As a civilian, you do have the duty to retreat. Law enforcement does not have the duty to retreat. What do I mean? That any time that you can avoid something, it's your duty to do that. Law enforcement, on the other hand, cannot do that, which is why it makes their job, what they do, so difficult, because they have to find a way to win every single time. But you, on the other hand, on a practical level, this is an example. Let's take a look at what that looks like on a practical level. But if you're across the street inviting me to engage, and you're calling me all kinds of names, and you're daring me to come over, and here I come, and I'm going to show you, then I'm not exercising my duty to retreat. I'm in my vehicle. I see you coming. You've given me warnings. You're telling me what you're going to do. I have the opportunity to drive off, but I don't. I stay, and I decide to engage. So I'm going to carry a certain sense, a certain amount of culpability in that as well. Any time that you can you choose. People say all the time, well, you know, I want the most effective, lethal techniques, because if I choose to engage, well, ACSD is not about making the decision to engage. You're engaging when you're forced to respond, and there's a very distinct difference there. People always, well, give me, you know, I'm going to go ahead and bash. And it seems like on one side of the fence, you have that, and right, and let me give you in this situation, I'm going to have to go ramble on you. And I'm here to remind you that even in those situations, you live in a society that's governed by laws. So, again, it's your duty to go ahead and retreat whenever possible. You are trying to prevent a fire, and the ultimate form of self-defense, with a cane or without, would involve zero body contact. So always walk away. Now, you had to engage. Now, the second principle, in any type of violent altercation, it's up to you, it's your responsibility to demonstrate that you were not the primary aggressor. You always want to have the ability to do that. And this has to be built into your training. So this has never just been physical. There is a mental, verbal component in there as well. Making the correct decision under the stress of the moment, that's critical. Your verbal skill sets, well, you've heard me say they're either going to work as your ally, your partner here, or they're going to work against you. You clam up, you don't have the training, you're paralyzed by the fear or shock of the moment, your voice doesn't even come out. Well, nobody can hear you, nobody can do anything, nothing has been established. I'm law enforcement, you're in the woods in there, and I don't even hear you because you are in that shock because you don't have the training. On the other hand, you're using, your verbals will work for you if they are assertive, and what you're saying has the ability to water everything down. Listen, I'm sorry, you're right, I don't know. Notice that my physical, the principles here, my tactical principles from a physical perspective, they're not violated. I'm using my verbal skills. They are in conjunction with this. I'm ready to explode from here if I need to, but there's a hierarchy there in how I do things. You're right, I don't know what's wrong with me. No, I don't want to fight, I don't want to fight, I don't want to fight. Have I made myself clear? And I said it many times. even when I'm winning, I sound like I'm losing. And that's all by design. Listen, no, down, please, no. Why? Because I'm aware that today, everybody has a phone. There's a third person point of view. They can be interviewed, but they can also show that this is what actually happened. And I'm well aware of that. And I want to establish that, listen, this happened. I was forced to respond in this fashion, but my goodness, you could hear it, and everybody can attest to the fact that I was not the primary aggressor. Number 3, you had to use the tool. Now, how is this going to be classified? Well, in the hierarchy there of the force, in the force matrix, you used, let's analyze this, you're using a mobility device. So you may already have a physical limitation, you may have an invisible injury, your leg gives out because you have really bad sight, you have a pinched nerve, whatever the case may be. And now you had to use this as an impact tool, where in that hierarchy, in the force matrix there, well, think of law enforcement for a second. They have a variety of tools. They come to your vehicle, they ask you to step out of the vehicle, you insist in not coming out of there, you get aggressive, and now they have a variety of tools that they're going to use to get you to comply without it having to escalate. That's what they're trying to do. They may use a baton to break a windshield. They may use mace in a situation, but they're really trying not to use, let it escalate and use a firearm, which would be considered lethal. So I'm using something that is considered non-lethal in a non-lethal fashion. Right? So this is why we at ACSD, we show you that there's a method to this where you're looking to incapacitate to escape. It's a bit different. Of bashing first to the head. No, not only that. Not only is that, it's just tactically not effective. And I'm not going to get into that. I've demonstrated that in other segments. But there's a more effective way of doing this. It's the shot they don't see coming that incapacitates. And so now the conversation turns into, hey, I used this tool instead of using my knife. I used it instead of escalating into my gun. Yes, you're right. I am a trained guy. You did your homework. And because I was trained, I didn't whack him in the head. I was able to defend myself by incapacitating so that I can get away. You know, while talking about getting away, should you report this? Is this something that should be reported? Well, if you have done nothing wrong, you defended yourself, you're in the right, you've established these things, you can't go wrong by reporting it. You cannot. On the other hand, you feared for your life and you had to get away, and now this individual who's incapacitated, right, is in the hospital, whoever, he's going to go ahead and he's going to tell a story. Well, that's okay. He can tell that story. It reminds me of the drug dealer who doesn't get paid in the transaction of the drugs and calls and goes to tell on law enforcement. Hey, this fellow, I sold him drugs. He hasn't paid me, Mr. Law Enforcement Officer, so I am telling on him for a crime that I'm committing. So it's along those lines. So guys, it's not automatic that because you had to defend yourself. These are principles that you need to keep in mind. The other factor that I want you to bear in mind is that we have something called subject factors. And subject factors, again, coming from law enforcement, which is where the majority of our training tactically comes from. If a law enforcement officer had to chase down an assailant, they get in an altercation. This fellow's bigger, stronger, he's choking him out, and he has to escalate and use his firearm and shoots him in the abdomen or whatever the case may be. Well, he's making the case that he was tired. This fellow, he was fearing for his life, so on and so forth. That's a subject factor. You have it also with a female facing now an assailant who's bigger, stronger, getting real physical with her. What about the elderly, right? So an elderly, a senior with a cane who has to now, that's a subject factor right there. What about one versus many, multiple attack situations, right? So that's a subject factor as well. So you have to be able to articulate. It's not automatically that I defended myself with this, and now I am going to be viewed as being in the wrong. As far as what happens civilly, right? So we're focusing on criminal, and that is the concern here. Civilly, listen, the fact is that civilians have the right, they have the right to sue you. You can get sued for anything. You can. That doesn't mean that it's going to hold up. That doesn't mean that it makes sense. That doesn't mean that it's going to follow through. So I'm driving and somebody runs a red light and T-bones me, and they're in the wrong, and they want to be proactive about this and stall everything and throw a wrench in the system and sue me first. That's fine. They have the right to do that. You can get sued for anything. But that doesn't mean, again, that is going to hold up in court. So please, again, don't think that it's automatic. The last component that I want to give you here is that in all these matters, training saves lives, right? So you're listening to this. There's a set of principles. We refer to this as an equalizer, but it's really an equalizer in the hands of a trained individual who has the mental, verbal, and physical skill sets that I'm describing here. So you're not going to get this training by being a YouTube caner and trying to learn this by patching together videos. There's a system, there's a step-by-step. So I'm going to give you a little bonus here, and this is what I would like for you to do. By the way, you should also look into, if you look at the body here of the video, there are organizations of attorneys that they're there to protect you. They're on your side if you acted correctly in self-defense. And we're an affiliate with some of these companies. They know we've teamed up with them with American Cane Self-Defense. They don't just work with you on firearms and offer coverage that way, but also with a tool like the cane. So look for that link there. What I encourage you to do is to text the letters CCC, which stand for Cane Clarity Call, so that we can jump on a call, find out where you are. It doesn't matter. We talk to individuals every single day who are starting from scratch in their training. They've never had, the concept is new to them. We talk to instructors who are already serving, but they want a curriculum. These are different times, right? They want something that's tactical. They want something that's practical. They want to know how to navigate and take their students, their audience, and take them from point A to point B with a tangible curriculum and the support. That's what we do as well. So regardless, whether you're a beginner or you're experienced, go ahead and reach out and let's have that call. CCC, text it to 305-745-7839. By the way, we love talking to you, right? So that phone number is 800-289-8188. But do that, because again, this is not something that you can learn watching right across, and you say, oh, that's good, yeah, that's good, but that mental verbal has to go with the physical skill set, all right? And that's what we're here for. So thank you, as always, for your time and attention. Keep caning. Stay safe.